Finding the essence of what works. It's about finding the essence of what works, and then making something that wasn't there before. Finding the essence. I'll bet you never saw that in a book. It certainly isn't. This came out of long conversations that I had. I had trained with many of the other people who were around in the early days, and it wasn't until I started working with and chatting that I really got a strong sense of what could really be done with these tools. Many people, when they approach NLP, have heard the word modeling, and they think that it means something like being able to copy what somebody who's really good does. Whereas in fact, that's not it. What we do in modeling is structures that could describe how someone does what they do, finding the essence of. But then what we look to do is to optimize those structures, change them, mutate what works, put them in with other structures so that we can do something better, do something that hasn't been done before. If NLP is a set of tools as anything, it's a set of tools for generating new insights, new standards of excellence, new approaches, new tools, rather than just about celebrating the tools that have come before. That's where we're working towards. You becoming competent with the tools to practice. By the way, I'm still a practitioner. To practice. We are practicing, and we haven't reached the end of the tool yet. To practice. Anybody who says that they tried or they did it for a little while and finding the essence, they ran out of stuff to do, never really engaged what works. The more you practice with the principles, the more you practice with the tools, the more you will discover you can do. There'll come a point, after a period of years when you've been working with these tools, where you'll be able to transcend the techniques as they were taught, where you'll go beyond the method. That's what we're aiming for. What it takes to engage with practice is a willingness to go into places you haven't gone before. To practice. That's why I don't explain as much up front as you might have expected. Finding the essence. I'm not going to handicap you in the way you might have been handicapped at university or at school. Later on, you'll develop your own ways of articulating, your own ways of explaining. To practice my ways of explaining, that'll set like a wall or a boundary or a fence around what you're learning. And right now, fences are not what we need. Right now, to practice. To practice. So what we're working on and what we're learning within the business practitioner is we're learning how to work with some of the brain code, if you will. The way the brain works, how that then affects external behavior, and then how that becomes the results that we create through behavior, the objectives, the outcomes, how we behave in groups, how things go wrong, how things go right. And it's important that while we're working with this, that we learn the principles, I call it from the inside out. That you learn how the dynamics of each of these elements work, first of all within yourself, and then we can go ahead and make comparisons as to how those dynamics work right now with other people. Exploration, because there is a difference between the two. There's a difference between how other people think about things, what works, and how you think about things, about what you require in order for something to qualify as being relevant and what someone else needs. To practice, to practice, to practice, to practice, to practice, to practice, to practice. Finding the essence, 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 finding the essence of what works, of what works, of what works.